Okay, so I'm going to do a top to bottom install of Home Assistant and set it up with the Modbus FoxESS plugin. Okay, so this is assuming that you've already followed other community steps to set up an instance of Home Assistant. This is the first screen you'll see once you then access your Home Assistant on your IP address and port. So just start to give it some details. I'm not in Amsterdam. Let's just move this over to the UK and just drop it there. Give it a name of your Home Assistant installation. So home's fine for me, metric, currency, just in case we have any the wrong one. The capital. There it is. Okay. Doesn't matter about any of this. Doesn't matter about any of my existing integrations. Okay, perfect. So blank installation. So we've got the plugin address, the plugin details open over here in GitHub. We've got a blank instance. So what we want to do is we want to first copy the configuration and either select raw and select all the file, or click on this this icon here to select the raw contents, because the indentation of the properties is important in YAML. So we've got that copied. We need to do a couple of things. First of all, we need to be able to actually access the file. So we'll go to configuration, add-ons. We'll notice that to add on advanced, we've got to enable advanced on the profile. So we'll do that. So just a little bit too quick then for everyone. So if we click on configuration, add-ons, backup, supervisor, add-on store, bottom right, you'll notice there's a link at the bottom saying missing add-ons, ? Enable advanced mode. So we need to do that. And then we need to enable advanced mode and then repeat that process. So configuration, add-ons, add-on store. And in here, we want to search for file editor. Still the file editor. Okay, auto update, show in sidebar, and we'll start. There we go. So we click that button down there. We've now got file editor in the corner. We're going to select the configuration, give ourselves a space, and we're going to paste all of the configuration that came from this page, the configuration.yaml. Clicked on these two squares, like the maximize symbol, to copy the raw content, and we pasted it just below some of the default content. So we've got all of this set up now. We're going to hit save. And then we're going to click here and we're going to add a new file. And we're going to call this modbus.yaml. And that name needs to match the name of the file we're referencing here that's just come from the content of the plugin configuration. So modbus.yaml, and then we can search for it, modbus.yaml. Perfect. Go back to the plugin. This time grab the modbus.yaml, copy that, paste that into here. And this contains all of the registers for the data properties that we're looking for. So battery voltage and grid consumption power. These should all look familiar as properties that we've seen from the FoxESS cloud. Okay, so there's two ways to integrate this now to Home Assistant. The first way is using a USB to serial converter or using a Wi-Fi LAN converter. Whichever one you choose, you need to either remove or comment out the other. So I'm actually using a Wi-Fi LAN. So I'm going to just remove the default. And I'm going to just uncomment these parts. Make sure that on name, you leave the little minus symbol as required. You can name the inverter, and we're going to need to give it an IP address. So just like that. I need to remember what IP I'm going to be using. This is unique to me, but the IP address will be the IP address that you have configured your USR device on your network. Port number, again, unique, but most people should be using 502. That's all configured correctly. All of this looks good. Hit save. Now we're going to restart the device. So I'm just going to pause just for a second while I restart. Okay, that's now restarted. Just to show those how to restart Home Assistant, if this is your first time, click on Configuration, Settings, and then there's this Restart button here, and that's going to restart Home Assistant. That's needed anytime you make a configuration change to Home Assistant. So if we look at Overview now, oh, perfect. So this is all the data coming in and being populated by the Modbus integration plugin that we've set up. And we've got all this information. So what we can do is just configure the energy dashboard and also just build a simple dashboard just to give you an idea of how this works. So if we go to configuration, then dashboards, you'll see energy. You've got to click on the label energy. And this is where you can configure things. So the grid consumption, we're going to set that one up to grid daily. And here you can set a static price. So I pay 25 pence. This is pounds, pence. Yep. Okay. 25 pence per kilowatt for power. And feed in. I get 0.041 pence for the feed in. Solar panels. PV1. You can set a forecast if you want to have a line on the energy chart, but I don't bother. So we've done PV1. Now we just need to do PV2. Home battery, and this will be the energy going into the battery is charge. Okay, so some of these sensors will take a little bit of time to calibrate because they're at 0. When you use the system, you'll then notice that these warnings will disappear. So what I mean by that is you can see here that the charge is unknown. Battery discharge, these are populated because some data's gone through them. So as soon as these have a little bit of use, they'll then go from unknown to a figure, and then Home Assistant will pick it up. It's perfect. So we've got this energy bar here. We've got energy on the sidebar. This will be populating with the solar, with the battery, grid consumption, grid feed in. Let's create just a new dashboard. So dashboards, create a new one. Call it whatever you want. And we're going to open it. And by default, it will populate stuff. So we want to start from blank and we want to take control. And let's just say we want to have a gauge of the state of charge of the battery. So with that, click on gauge. Then we look for state of charge. Great, 81. Can even define some severities. So we can say, right, well, it's green, red when it's under 15, yellow when it's 30, and green if it's over 31. There we go. So we've just made ourselves a state of charge. We can obviously give it a name as well. So we can say remaining battery. And if we want to look at the solar production right now, there should be, I think it's called now, PV now. There we go. So that's my solar system live, producing just over 0.5 kilowatt right now. Big cloud, obviously going overhead. And these are all near to live, so just a few seconds behind. You can set the polling frequency from as fast as 1 second up to every minute, every 2 minutes, whatever. But yeah, the polling frequency is defined in the Modbus file. So if we look at the example here, go to Modbus, you'll notice that every data property, every single one of them has something called scan interval 10. So that's 10 seconds between refreshes. So if we were looking at something like the state of charge, which is a slightly longer one because it doesn't change as fast, that's set to every 60 seconds or 1 minute. So we've got all the data coming in now. We've built our own customized dashboard. We've got the energy system populating, and as it says, it takes up to a couple hours before you start to see the line graphs being populated. Yeah, hope we got this all set up and working. Thank you.